Hello, everybody, as he tries to get comfortable in his very squeaky chair. Welcome to the show. Can anybody tell me what YouTube channel that's from? Yes, come on. It's a gaming channel. They do mostly GTA content, but they do other stuff as well, mostly GTA. And every start of the show, he goes, "Hello and welcome to the show." Yes, it's me and Mr. TB the Bear, TB the Bear, a lovely little Just leave it now, TB, just leave it, okay? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Let's put Mr. TB over there, where I keep him for the rest of the week. Let's go to the messages, because I think I've got some. Wowzers. Let's have a look. I wasn't going to do a stream this week, because obviously, as everyone knows, the Formula 1 has been cancelled. We'll get into that in a moment. But I did see some other news, and I thought, whoa. Hello, Mr. Will F1 Gaming. He says, disappointing that Imola is cancelled, but definitely the right decision. We can't put fans, drivers, personnel, etc. at such risk. That is very true. But someone on Twitter did also make a very good comment and say, oh, so we can go to Saudi Arabia with rockets flying around our ear holes, but we can't go to Imola. Now, that's not my comment, so that's not me saying it, okay? Because I don't want to get into trouble for YouTube. So that's not me. That was someone on Twitter saying that. So you could, take that how you want to take it. Entirely up to you. But yes, I do agree with you. Safety is paramount, and it was the right decision to cancel Imola. I was very happy to see Yuki Tsunoda with a shovel in his hand. If you see the pictures on Twitter, someone's posted it. Yuki Tsunoda with a shovel in his hand, helping to clear the water at or near to the Imola circuit, because obviously, there's been a lot of flooding at Imola. I think I've read, I can't confirm it, so I'm not going to say whether it's right or not, but I think there's been a few deaths as well, but that's to be confirmed. I've got to look at that. But yeah, so very sad news at Imola. But I was just very, very happy to see old Yuki getting in there and mucking in. Now, of course, if Sebastian Vettel was still in the sport, oh my God, he'd have been there from last Tuesday, possibly. In fact, he would probably have got the track completely cleared of all the floodwater by now, and we would have had a race. But unfortunately, Sebastian Vettel's not in Formula 1 anymore, so that didn't happen. But I would have loved to have seen that. Absolutely, loved to have seen that. But yes, the right decision for the circuit. Not the right decision for Formula 1, of course, because we always like to see our motor racing. But you can't be too selfish about these things when, things are going on in the world which aren't, and flooding is a very serious problem, and so you can't really moan just because you're not going to get a Grand Prix this week, really, can you? Although I expect some people will be. So we're now going on to Monaco, which is unfortunate that we get this one cancelled, which is a pretty decent Grand Prix. Then we have to go to the snooze fest that's Monaco, but that's just the way the order is. One thing I would like to say is I think the FIA need to be a little bit quicker with these sort of decisions, because I do believe they had the weather forecast for that 2 weeks ago saying that it was going to be flooded. So, the FIA can get a race on week basis done. Surely, if they'd have realised the rain was going to be there, they could have cancelled it last week, and then they could have gone to another circuit this week. They should have about 3 or 4 circuits in reserve. I've said this before, and if something goes wrong, you should be able to. But of course, I know logistically it's a problem because of ticket sales. Because obviously, if you suddenly go to somewhere and you haven't sold tickets for it, it is a problem. But just do it like they did in 2020 during the COVID stuff. Just go to the circuits and not have any spectators there. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter as long as you get a race in. Surely that would be more appropriate than having no race at all, to have a race with no spectators. That would be a lot easier to solve the problem, and you'd be able to get to these circuits very, very quickly. I think, if I remember rightly, there's about 4 circuits now in reserve that are up to the FIA standards. Because that's another problem, of course. I saw people on Twitter saying, oh, well, you know, we could go to Mugello or whatever, because it's only half an hour away from Imola or whatever. But if the circuit isn't up to the FIA standard, when they got a very high standard for circuits, even circuits that are being used currently right now for other sort of series, may not be up to the FIA standard. If it's not up to that standard, then they can't go there. That's it. You know, end of discussion. You can't suddenly say, oh, well, we'll just scrap all our rules and go to the circuit, because safety has to be paramount. And if it's not up to code, then they can't suddenly just go there. But as I say, they've got about 4 circuits in reserve, surely, that they could use. Just off the back of my head, I can think of about 4 circuits they could use as emergencies that are up to FIA standards, because they have been used very recently in the past few years, from like 2020 onwards, so they should still be up to code. Of course, they do disappear off that standard after a few years if they're not getting used for Formula 1, because obviously why would you keep up to such a high standard if you're not going to actually use it in F1? But these tracks were only raced like last year and the year before, so they should still be up to code. So I think that should be something the FIA should look at and think, you know, if we can get there, if we can go from race to race in 7 days, surely we should be able to go somewhere else pretty quickly to get a race organised. I just think, you know, a little bit slow. And of course, this means that for another year, I can't remember whether it was last year as well, may have been, but for another year, the official F1 game won't be in the proper season order, because it'll probably, because the game must have been made by now. Yes, it must have been made by now, even though it's not out until June the 12th, I think it is, for the early release. It must have been done. So obviously they're not going to be able to take out Imola. So Imola will be included in the official release, even though we're not going there this year. Now, in previous years, if you had the full season, you couldn't remove any of the circuits. Like if you did a 16 race season, you could, but in a full race, you couldn't remove any of the circuits. So if you could, it would be a lot easier. You could just take out Imola and just, you know, run it like that. But yeah, so once again, unfortunately, we're not going to get the actual season in real life. But there you go. Not a lot you can say about that, really. That's just Codemasters, and you know, the time it takes them to do stuff is a very long time, and I suppose I just haven't got time to, you know, sort all this out. But maybe in a future patch, once the game's out, there may be an option where you can remove Imola and then, you know, follow the season order. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with China. I don't even know if that's, I know it's in the game, but is it going to be in the career mode? Who knows? I think in the long run, the FIA just need to, sorry, not the FIA, Codemasters just need to accept that it is a game. It's not going to be 100% authentic, and they should just run the circuits that they've got in it and be done with it, because they can't, you know, this happened from 2020 onwards, of course, when the season was drastically different from the one that we actually got in the game. In fact, it was completely different. So they just got to accept that, I think, and just move on and say, yeah, all these circuits are based on the start of the year and not what happened actually during the season, and just do it like that. Because at the end of the day, I don't think us F1 gamers really care that much whether a circuit's been included or not, or whether tracks are missing. I mean, we've never had the full 2020 season in the game, like the properly how they went to the tracks, because some of those tracks weren't even in the game, so it's impossible for them to do. They could never have replicated those 17 tracks that we went to, even though some of them were like double and triple headers. So, you know, they just need to accept that, I think, and just say, it's what it should have been at the start, and leave it like that. Just JMO says Hulk Hogan had a shorter intro that he did. I agree with you, Jamie. He did. Good evening, Hookster, says Will F1 go. Good evening to you, sir. Good evening. Will says 400th All Seasons episode. It is indeed. Yes. And I've done a little bit of editing for this week, so that's why I've been a little bit busy and haven't been able to do any other sort of videos. Well, I did get that WTF1 little short out yesterday, but yeah. So yeah, 400th episode of the All Seasons is on this Sunday. Let the hype train begin. Yes, I've done all the video. All I've got to do is the commentary now, which I shall do tomorrow, and then we are ready to rock and roll. We are ready to rock and roll. Matthew says Dominic Orlando is the closest Ferrari driver to a world championship since 2007. You could be right. You could be right. Lionel Plessy, welcome to the stream. He says Imola, the first race to be cancelled since Australia 2020. Yes, indeed. Still, at least the BTCC is on this week, and I can watch that. Yeah, at least there's some kind of motorsport to watch. I noticed all the other sort of motorsports that are on this weekend sort of said, don't worry about the F1 being cancelled. Come and watch us instead. There's a 24-hour race going on somewhere. I can't remember where it is. And they sent a few tweets up saying, come and watch us instead. So it's great publicity when there isn't actually a Formula 1 race on, that they can sort of, milk it a little bit to get people interested in their own racing series, which is, it's great to see. Great to see. Matthew says, when will you stop your utters? Never. I will do my utters. If anyone watching this hasn't got a bloody clue what I'm on about, that's during my Monday night on the ERL live streams. I come into the chat. I do it every single week. It's just hilarious. It's exactly the same thing, and everyone loves it. And I do this little repertoire of utters before I come in, and seriously, you got to be there. You got to be there. I can't explain it to you because it make no sense. But you got to be there. You got to be there. Helium Trophy says, "Hello, welcome to the stream, sir." He says, "Can you imagine the outcry of fans if that happened, who actually bought the tickets?" Yes, I can imagine the outcry. I can indeed. You know how people like to moan these days. Oh my God. Yes, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Hello, Scott Barnes. Welcome to the stream, sir. Helium Trevi says, he's talking to me in Italian now. The Girella d'Italia, I've completely butchered that. I do apologise. It's still going on. It's been a nightmare. Huge crashes and a spike in COVID. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yes, everyone, don't forget, COVID has not gone away. It's still there. It's just not reported about very much. But statistically, I don't want to frighten you, because if you're watching this and you're of a young age, you'll be fine. But statistically, it still kills one person every 3 minutes in the world. That's what I read the other day. One person every 3 minutes is still dying from COVID. Now, obviously, these people are probably old, or they've probably got pre-existing medical conditions which would predispose them to, dying, unfortunately, of COVID. Not the case in everything, of course. Could be healthy, whatever. So I just want to say, a lot of people say, forget about COVID. It's not. It's still there. You have to be careful. You don't have to be ridiculous about it now, and but just be careful and be mindful that it is still out there. It's it has mutated into more of a very bad cold at the moment, but the WHO has officially now declared the pandemic is over. I think they announced that on the day of our king's coronation, which was very good of them. They thought, well, if we'll just get this out of the way right now and say, oh, by the way, congratulations to the king, and also the pandemic's over. Yeah, just thought we'd get it out now. Yeah, so it's all done. Yeah, all done. Yeah, but anyway, I'm not going to go into the pandemic, but yeah. So just be vigilant. Just be vigilant, okay? Things are not how they were in 2019, start of 2020. You just have to be careful. You have to go stupid and stay inside an oxygen tent for the rest of your life. That's ridiculous. I'm not supporting that whatsoever. Just be mindful. Just have it at the back of your mind. That's all. But of course, these things have been around for thousands of years. They probably had deadly viruses back when the dinosaurs were on the earth, but of course, because there wasn't any humans, we didn't catch them. But I expect the dinosaurs are, oh my God, I expect they had a killer version of COVID back in the 65 million years ago. I bet they had a killer version of it. I'll tell you, it was swept through the dinosaur community like wildfire, I bet you. That's probably actually what wiped them out. I don't think it was an asteroid. I don't believe it, to be honest. No, I know what they say, but, you know, who knows what the truth is? We weren't there. No one was there. The historians weren't there either, so they don't really know that it was an asteroid, do they? 65 million. How can they know that? No. Basically, I think it was a severe form of COVID that wiped out the dinosaurs. But there we go. It's just an opinion. It's not a fact. Will F1 Gaming says there's already trailers with Imola in the F123 game. Oh dear. Yes, before I continue, I just want to talk about my headline. And that's the reason why I came on stream today, because there was just this. Tomorrow, Friday, is supposed to be the F123 game Deep Dive Part 2. It has been cancelled. Why has it been cancelled? Well, Codemasters have said because of the Imola race. And I'm sort of thinking to myself, what has that got to do with the game? Apart from the fact that it does generate a little bit more hype when you've got an actual race going on around about the same time or the same weekend. You do get a little bit of that hype train, but I can't see any relevance to cancelling a deep dive into a game just because a real life Grand Prix has been cancelled. That's very, very strange to me. Now, don't forget, of course, for the whole of this month they've been beta testing. Has there been a few problems come up during the beta testing? Is the game in trouble? Is it all going to explode into a fiery mess come June the 12th next month? Oh my God. Well, we'll just wait and find out, won't we? Hopefully it'll be fine, but who knows? But yeah, it's just interesting to me that they've cancelled that deep dive. I really don't think that explanation comes true. I know they released the games close to Grand Prix weekends to get a little bit of hype, but just because Imola was cancelled, I don't see the relevance of cancelling a game. Don't forget, it's a game. That seems very weird. Matthew says, do you have early access for F123? No, Matthew, I don't, unfortunately. I used to do the beta tests for the F1 games all the way back from F1 2016. I didn't do 2015, so that mess was nothing to do with me. But 2016 is when I started doing the beta tests. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 I did the beta test as well. 2021 I didn't, and the reason for that was because, as far as I can remember, there wasn't any beta testing for 2021. Or it was just closed testing. And then they started being a little bit silly at EA, and you had to actually make an EA account to become a beta tester. And I didn't want to do that. So I withdrew from beta testing. Also, I would like to say, I've mentioned this to a few people before, but when I used to do the beta testing, I used to take it seriously. I didn't used to muck around. I used to, not like I usually do anyway, I used to actually go out, test the cars, you know, the handling, how it felt on a pad, everything like that. And I used to spend about 7 days, 2-3 hours a day, beta testing the game. Then when I did that, I would then type out on the Codemasters forum my thoughts of the game. And it used to be about 4 or 5 full A4 sized sheets of paper, only obviously online, of my thoughts of the game, things you could do to the game to improve it in my view. And I really took a lot of time and effort. That used to take me a good 2-3 hours to type out my thoughts and feelings, because what I used to do is I used to have a pen and paper with me, and I used to write down things that I thought, well, that's good, but you know, maybe you could do this, and then I'd type it all out. And that used to take me a good couple of hours. All the way through the beta test cycles of 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, I never got any kind of feedback from Codemasters whatsoever. Not even a like. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Then one time I just done my usual. It was on F1 2020, and I did my usual 4-page sheet of thoughts and feelings about the game and posted it onto their forum, and there was nothing at all. And then a couple of days later, I went and checked it, and there was still absolutely nothing. No feedback code, because that's what happens when you put the beta test in. You might get a little bit of feedback from Codemasters themselves, because there's quite a few people who monitor those forums, not just one person. So I'd understand it. There's quite a few there that are monitoring through those forums, and they don't say anything. Or sometimes they do, but not very often. But they'll give you a little, I can't remember how it goes on the forums, whether it's a like or something, just to say that, oh yeah, we've looked at your thing and we've acknowledged it. It's just an acknowledgement of the work and the effort that you've put in during the testing. Absolutely nothing. And then just as I'm looking through the thing, I notice Benjamin Daly, yes, Mr. Tiamat Marduk himself, put a comment after, obviously he's also done the same thing where he's put a lot of things about what can be improved. And just at the bottom, he put like this tiny little comment at the bottom about something that could be done in the game. I can't even remember what it was. It was something, in my opinion, really insignificant and really wouldn't have made much difference to the game at all. And I saw him post that comment, and I thought, I'll just hang around, and literally, I kid you not, 10 minutes later, he gets a reply from, I think it was David Greco at Codemasters. Literally within 10 minutes, he gets a reply. And as I say, this thing that he commented on, I was like, I don't see the point why you even bothering saying that, because it's not going to make much difference to anyone like me and you playing the game. But yeah, he gets a reply. I think it's from David Greco. And at that point, I went, you know what? I can't be bothered doing this anymore. So that's when I stopped doing the beta testing, because why waste your time when the only people they're going to listen to are the big F1 YouTubers, because obviously they then show their game on their channel, which has got like 700,000 subscribers on it. And of course they're going to get more publicity. So that's what they'd rather do. So that's what they do. They don't care about, the little people, the yous, the me's that are actually playing this game. They don't care about that whatsoever. All they care about is publicity for their game. So at that point I went, okay, like I did my Alan Sugar impersonation, went, I'm out. No, sorry, that's Dragon's Den, isn't it? Yeah, I'm out. I went, I'm out. No, I'm out. And that's it. So I haven't done beta testing since 2020. That was the last one. So, as I say, any future games, if they're that bad, that's been nothing to do with me. So let's just put it down. Let's just look at this, shall we? F1 2021. I had no involvement. Good game. F1 2022. I had no involvement. Good game. Do you see a pattern here? I'm only kidding, obviously, my very tiny contribution would have made nothing to these games, but there's definitely a downgrade in quality since I stopped beta testing them. Oh, God. Scott says, hi, everyone in the chat. Will F1 get... We got the actual 22 season and 2022 game. Actually, yes, you're quite correct. Yeah, we did. It was only 21, wasn't it? And 2020, of course, which didn't. 21 had a few changes, I think, that they didn't put in. Not many. Of course, 2020 we know all about, so I've said all about it earlier. Scott says, everybody in the chat, did you see yesterday's short video for Dave? Of course they did. They're fans. What was that short video anyway? What was that all about? I tell you what, I laughed like a drain. I did when I saw that comment. I was just like, there's probably some more there now. I haven't checked later, but recently. But I just laughed like a drain when I saw that comment. It was like, I mean, what? Seriously, how does she expect anyone to take her seriously when she's coming out with comments like, if George Russell was in the same car as Max Verstappen, he'd be beating him? I mean, what planet would that actually ever be a thing? right, it wouldn't actually be a thing, and right, it could happen, but it's still not going to be a case where George Russell's going to beat Max Verstappen in a Red Bull, is it? No. No. But there you go. I do apologise. Just a load of notifications come off my screen. Maybe for season 1 they should not include Imola or have an option to have it permanently from season 2. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, I watched it earlier, Scott. He did. Several times. Planet Places says the MotoGP race at Silverstone got cancelled in 2018 due to heavy rain, but the game was already out at that point. Yeah, this happens a lot, of course, you know, with games. I mean, F123, yeah, is ready to go. If you've pre-ordered that game, okay, if Codemasters let you, you could download that game right now and it's ready to go. I guarantee you that game is finished, because they have to finish it at least a month before they're even going to release it. And don't forget, of course, it has to go to the Blu-ray duplication plant to have a load of Blu-rays printed out of this game. That would have happened a month ago. So the whole game is finished now, and that is sitting there on your downloads, waiting to go. But Codemasters, of course, have got it blocked off until next month. But that game's finished, guarantee you. It's ready to go. Be great if you could hack into it, wouldn't it? Oh my god, that would be fun. Hello Joseph, welcome to the stream. He says, to be honest, back in 2011 I was surprised that Bahrain wasn't on the 2011 game, given that you could have a 20 race custom championship in that game. Yeah, that was quite surprising, I must admit. This of course was in the early days of races getting cancelled or moved around. It did used to happen back then, but not very often. We really did have quite a rigid calendar back, you know, sort of 10, 12 years ago. Occasionally races got cancelled, but yeah, it's the world we're living in right now. Of course, everything's going at such a pace that unfortunately, and of course the way the climate's going, but I'm not going to subscribe to that situation. But yeah, the way the things are going, obviously more races are going to get cancelled. The thing I'm thinking about though is this claim from the FIA that going to have 30 races by 2026. That's never going to happen. We're never going to have 30 races, you know, because races are getting cancelled constantly now. It's not going to happen. I think they should have a maximum of 20 races, and they should have 4 circuits in reserve. So if someone has to drop out, they can quickly go to one of these 4 circuits. As I say, just run it with no people there. They did it in 2020, and you know that managed quite well. So just run it with no people there if they've got to get there quickly. As long as it's a circuit that's not too far away, you know, like the other side of the world. If they can get there within 7 days, then they should have these 4 circuits. In fact, that would be a good idea to have the 4 circuits that are pretty close in sort of Europe, so they can get there fairly quickly. If there is a problem with these tracks, but there's no way going to be 30 tracks by 2026. It's just the way the landscape of the world is right now as well, with, you know, countries basically fighting against each other all the time. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not just the usual 2 places that I can't talk about on YouTube. All over the world there is fighting going on right now. The world is very annoyed with each other at the moment for some unknown reason, which I don't know why. But yes, so there's a lot of fighting in lots of countries right now, and that's only going to continue. That's not going to suddenly dissipate. So I just can't see 30 rounds of the championship going ahead from 2026. 30 is way too much anyway for a championship season, when you take into account that they have a huge break during the winter as well. It's going to end up as basically one every week. It's the only way they're going to get through it, and it's just too much. And it takes away the magic, the spectacle of Formula One. That's always the thing that we as fans always liked. The bi-monthly instalment. That's what we want. The bi-monthly instalment. Every 2 weeks you have something, you know, to look forward to. I don't like the back-to-back races. It's too quick. It's over on Sunday and then it's back on in like practice again the following Friday. It's like, oh god, it's another race again. It's just, now and again is fine, but it's just getting too monotonous. Of course, if this race hasn't been cancelled, we would have had, I think, 4 on the bounce. But thankfully it hasn't. But there's been some huge gaps already in this season. I mean, that 4-week gap after China was a little bit ridiculous. I'm sure they could have bunged some kind of Grand Prix in the middle of that. But yeah, it's too many tracks. I would say keep it to 20. 20s are not. I would like to go lower. 17's a nice number, but just purely for the fact that the way we are in the world right now, I think 20 is a nice round figure for a Grand Prix season. Keep it at 20, and as I say, have these 4 tracks in reserve ready to go at a moment's notice. As I say, don't sell tickets, don't have spectators. If people turn up, fair enough at the last minute. If they live close to the circuit, yeah, fair enough. Let them come in and whatever. But don't actually actively sell tickets and say, yeah, we're doing this in a week's time. Just go to the circuit, and then we get another race. I say keep them all sort of around the areas of Europe, so they're quick to get through, quick to get to. So that would be good. I commented, can you just stop this, says Will F1 Gaming. They're talking amongst themselves in my chat. I don't know what's going on here. Joseph says only 19 tracks on F1 2011. Yes, that's right, 19 tracks. They probably should have put Bahrain back in the game for Season 2 of the career mode on 2011. They should have done. But unfortunately, don't forget everyone, don't forget 2011, PS3, very early days, patches, updates, DLCs were not really a big thing in 2011, were they? They did used to release patches for the F1 games, but very infrequently. I think F1 2010 had 1 patch, maybe 2, and that was it. There was a bug in one of them. I think it was 2011, where you couldn't progress past Season 2. I think it was Japan, because I came up against that bug myself, and as soon as you finished Japan on Season 2 of 2011, the screen went black, and that was it. You couldn't go any further. And when you tried to reload the save, there was nothing there. It was like the save had disappeared. Very, very weird. So they had to patch that, and they did patch that, and it worked. And that was probably my first experience of patching, and I didn't even know what it was. And so this patch came up, I put it in, and I was like, oh my god, and I got past Japan, and not only that, my save had magically rematerialized. I don't know how it did it, but it didn't came back. Obviously it was there all the time. It just wasn't accessing the data inside the save. But after the patch, the data was now re-put in, and I went past Japan. I tested it, and it went black again, like it usually does anyway. When you transition between the races, you get a black screen like you did in the early days for about 10 or 20 seconds. It did that, but then it had advanced onto the next screen and went on to the next race, and I was like, oh my god. A patch, and it worked. Yes, a patch that worked. That was another thing as well, of course, a patch that worked. Of course, now they put patches on and it solves some problems and creates more. But yeah, back in the day, a patch that worked, that was great. We love that. So yeah, I was very happy to see that. But yeah, back in those days, as I say, patches, very few and far between. You get 1, 2, maybe 3 per F1 game. I go back to the early days of the F1 games, of course. As they went later on, they get more and more patches. I think F122 is 20 patches, something like that anyway. They all average out between about 16 and 19 patches per F1 game now anyways, for about the last 5 games anyway. Will says, even as late as June, there were still discussions as to whether Bahrain would be in the actual season or not. Yes, that's true. Joseph says, incorrect. Russia 2022 for obvious reasons. Yeah. Nürburgring 24 hours this week. Ah, is that the one? Is that the one that people are advertising on Twitter and saying, go watch us instead? and loads of other 2020 races and a few in 2021. Definitely watch it. Says Helium Trophy. There you go. Will says obviously another race in Austria, Turkey, Qatar was added into the calendar during the 2021 season due to other cancellations. Yeah, that's correct. The World Health Organization, says JW97, declared that COVID is no longer a global health emergency. There you go. Officially. From who? Unfortunately, WHO is not really an organisation that we trust anymore, because they got a lot of things wrong and they were very, very slow to do a lot of things as well. But anyway, I'm not going to go down that road. But there you go. Will F1 Gaming says, I'm suffering the effects from long COVID, so I'm aware of that dreaded virus. Ah, well, I'm very sorry to hear that, Will. So there you go. To everyone out there, there's an example. Will has long COVID. I've watched a lot of videos in the past about long COVID. A lot of people, got this crappy idea that it doesn't exist. Well, I can assure you that things like that do exist, because I actually suffered from a situation like that way back in 1998, when I actually had to go in for a very minor operation, very minor. It was, in and out in a few hours. I was under anaesthetic for about 20 minutes, so that gives you an indication of how minor it was. And everything was fine until about a week later, when I started to feel very ill indeed. I couldn't understand what was going on, but I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I ended up in the hospital for 31 days in the end. Yes, and for 18 days I had a fever of 106.5, and it no matter what they did, they just could not break this fever, and it was horrible, and quite possibly the worst experience of ill health I've had for a very long time. I mean, when you got a fever that high, I was hallucinating. Honestly, every time I closed my eyes, all I could see was fire, because apparently your brain interprets the heat from the temperature in different ways. And for me, every time I shut my eyes, all I could see was flames, and that was it. Horrible situation. After about a few weeks, and this is no word of a lie, I literally sat up in bed and I could see this giant spider stuck to the wall. It was like a big tarantula, and it suddenly crawled down the wall and disappeared into the floor, because I was at that point, after 18 days with a temperature that high, I was hallucinating, and oh my god. Anyway, it turns out during this minor operational procedure that some bugs had jumped onto my liver, and instead of staying there on the liver and just causing enough of a problem there, they decided to jump to every single organ in my body. So basically I was infected everywhere. The whole of my body was infected, and it's basically a severe form of pneumonia. Only in this form of pneumonia, it's not consigned to the lungs. It actually jumps from the lungs and goes everywhere around your body. It's feel free to look it up. It's called mycoplasma pneumonia or something like that anyway. But they only found that out weeks and weeks later. I had a battery of tests to find out what the problem was. But anyway, so I was 18 days in hospital with 106.5. I eventually got out after 30 days, because I had to be monitored for a few more days after that to make sure that okay. And I have to say, for a year after that, I suffered serious problems. I was basically sleeping for 20 hours of the day. My energy level was completely zero. I was sleeping for 20 hours of the day, and during the 4 hours I was awake, I just wanted to go back to sleep again. But obviously you have to do certain things during the day, like eating and stuff like that. You've got to do that sort of thing to keep you going. But it was horrible. And I had this horrible, I think they call it aphasia feeling, where I felt like I was sitting in a chair, but I felt like I was standing over the other side of the room. It's very difficult to explain, but that's the after effects of such a long temperature, because basically once your temperature's that high for that long, you do run the risk of brain damage. Stop it now. Stop it. But you do run the risk of brain damage. Luckily, I was okay on that. There was no, well, it was pretty damaged before. But anyway, yeah, but luckily I was okay on that. But yeah, you do run the risk of that. And so that was horrible. And it was a year, a whole 365 days before I felt normal. Absolutely normal. Yeah. Every day was a struggle for a year. So yeah, I can definitely sympathise for anyone who's got or suffers from long COVID. It is not funny whatsoever. And until you get really, really sick, you really don't know what can happen. But only once you get sick, it sort of makes you think as well. You think, yeah, that wasn't pleasant. That really wasn't pleasant. And yet other people will, you know, wander around coughing over everyone, not giving it a second's thought because they're all right and they end up with just like a slight cold and they're fine afterwards, you know, so they don't really care. But once you get really, really sick, you sort of understand, you know, that maybe you should take precautions and, you know. So that's what I'm saying about COVID. Don't be silly about it and go into an oxygen bubble, but just be aware that it is still out there. It hasn't completely gone away. I'm just looking at the comments, excuse me, because my tablet goes off after 5 minutes, and as I'm yapping away, it goes off, and I have to find my gap in the comments again. Here we go. Right, JW97 says there was another game that included a track that was cancelled in the end. F127. Yes, I remember that with Estoril. Sounds like a migraine tablet, doesn't it? Yes. You got a terrible migraine? Take Estoril. Yes. Anyway. Although, interestingly, they added Jerez into the game, although it didn't include the Ayrton Senna chicane. Yes. Very interesting. Scott says, any excuse for game trouble cancelling was a lot of bull. Bloody hell, I just realised it doesn't matter, they're real GP and not stupid, to be honest. Yeah, I know, it is stupid. It is stupid. You know, the game shouldn't have anything to do with real F1, apart from, as I say, the very tiny bit of extra publicity you get. But apart from that, makes no difference. So I'm just wondering why Codemasters have really cancelled this deep dive part 2 they were going to do tomorrow. I don't know. Unless the footage contained Imola. Maybe they were doing like a hot lap round Imola and that's why they've had to cancel it. I don't know. You know, just out of respect to everything that's happening over Imola. You could understand if that's happened. That's the thing. But I don't think it's that at all. I don't think it's that. But anyway, we'll never know, but it's been cancelled. Estoril says Will F1 game was supposed to be the final race of the 97 season, but it was cancelled due to safety concerns, I think. Jerez replaced Estoril as the last race as this happened 3 months into the season. Dave, did you see Alva's career mode video where the safety car was racing down the car? Yes, I did, Mr. Will F1 Gaming. I did indeed. Yes. There is a typical example of a game that's not broken and is very, 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 very decent to play. So everyone go out and play F123 because it's brilliant. It really is. And just drive around the track for nearly 20 laps. Yep. 700 subscribers. Yes. I was putting them down a little bit there, wasn't I? 700,000 subscribers. That's better. Also, I want to shout out Planal Plessy for saying the BTC is on this weekend. I didn't know. Thank you, sir. Well, there you go. Shout out to Planal Plessy for that. I didn't know either, but I've got it on like record, so it records anyway. So I'd find it, but I didn't know it was on at the same time. Will says, I dare someone to create a Hannah WTF1 account and comment on all days video. And that would be great. That would be great. If that's what you want to do, then be my guest. Be my guest. Because don't forget, it's all engagement and it puts me higher up the search, which means I get more views. So, yay! I think that would be epic, says Scott. Imagine if she started to watch the Cruel Wall 2017. She can't watch the Cruel Wall 2017 because her Formula 1 knowledge only goes back to 2020, so be quiet. Oh, dear. Dom, Dave. Blind Peter says, I know you saw the tweet where someone said name a bigger downgrade, and I quote tweeted with F190, one of the best F1 games ever, followed up by one of the worst. Yes, I did see that tweet. Yeah, I did. I think I did a retweet on that as well. F198, possibly the only F1 game that actually made me cry. So everyone knows my love of F197. It's the game that started F1 Games PlayStation. The very first video is of F197 because that was the game I was going to start with. I was determined that was going to be it. And my love for F197 is, I think, unmatched. Unmatched, seriously. Now, at the time of F197, I was working full-time in a job that was basically 12, 14-hour days. So I didn't have any time during the week. And I did work at the weekend as well. But even though I was working at the weekend, I managed to get in. This is no word of a lie. And this was like first week after release. I managed to get in 12 hours of gameplay every Saturday and Sunday on F197. Yes, 12 hours. That was, I think I did that for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks like that, and then I was just absolutely knackered and I had to stop. But yeah, it was just absolutely crazy. 12 hours of gameplay over the weekend on F197 because it was just fantastic. It really was. And then F198 came out. I got the game. I paid. I was so convinced that everyone else was. I'd read the magazines. I'd read the art. Don't forget, this was before the internet, so all you got was magazine articles. I read the magazine article. They said it was shit. I didn't care. I didn't care. I thought it's gonna be brilliant. It's not gonna be shit because they're not gonna let me down with an F1. It's gonna be just like F197, only a little bit better. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. And so I loaded in F197 into my old grey box PlayStation, plugged into my old CRT television, 21-inch it was. Yes, 21-inch. And it got to the intro screen. I'll tell you what, magnificent. I looked at that intro and I thought, this is good. The way it said uses Vsauce technology, and I was like, wow, what the? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, that's what it means. And I'm not going to tell you what it means. Look it up yourselves. But yeah, and so it got to the start, and I thought, yes, this is it. Come on. I was like, come on. And it gave me the choice of arcade or Grand Prix race. Now, of course, no one starts a whole championship season 3 minutes after loading the game up. What you want to do is you either want to do a bit of arcade, and I thought, okay, arcade. So I went into the arcade. I'll tell you what, I was very impressed indeed. Okay, graphics were not very good. The cars, yes, cars were not very good. But I was thinking, well, that's okay. It's only the arcade mode. You know, they always make the arcade mode look a bit more shitty than all that. So I thought it's fine. But the handling of the cars was pretty decent, I thought. You know, for arcade mode, it was pretty decent. And I thought, this is it. I can't wait to get into David Coulthard's McLaren. Yes, the all-conquering McLaren, David Twat Coulthard, and away we go. So I finished with my little journey into the arcade mode, and I thought, right, I'm going to do one Grand Prix race. And I thought, yeah, I'm not gonna pick a race. I'm just gonna do Australia, the first race, F198. And don't forget, this now is in Grand Prix mode. Yes, the pinnacle of F1, Grand Prix mode. And I thought, yes, here we go. So out we went, and we did. What did we? No, we didn't bother with practice. We went straight out into qualifying. Yes, and away we went. Australia, down that straight. You know the straight, and then you get the tight right-hander, full chat down there. I went straight onto the brakes, and it just kept going. It just kept going, yes, because it had locked up because the brakes was shit, and I just planted the wall, and I went, oh well, never mind, rookie mistake. So I backed the car up, started going again, went down into the second corner, and I'm like, wait a minute. This bloody car won't turn. Why won't this car turn? This is Grand Prix mode, for fuck's sake. This is supposed to be the pinnacle of F1 games. And it's not turning. And then the awful truth suddenly hit me that this game was Absolute shite. Oh my god. The handling between arcade mode and Grand Prix mode, it's like night and day. Handling's fine in arcade mode. They should have put that handling into the Grand Prix. At least it would have had, everyone would have said, well, the graphics are a little bit shit, but, you know, the handling's okay and it's not a bad game. That's what everyone would have said in the reviews. But no, they completely nerfed the car in Grand Prix mode into this horrible, horrible mess. Oh my god, unresponsive steering. Constant lock-ups on the brake. The back of the car used to jump up and down like a bloody dog when you went round too fast round the corners. It was literally like going boing da boing da boing da boing da boing. And that was the only F1 game where I actually started crying because I was like, I've got to play this for a year? A whole bloody year? Are you serious? So that was well disappointing. But thankfully, I only had to put up with it for about 4 months because out came a game from the ashes of Formula One which captivated me and got me through the long, droughty journey of F1 until the next game come out, and that was Super Monaco 2 Grand Prix Racing Simulator, something like that anyway. Longest name ever, okay? Didn't have the official cars or the drivers, but you could make the liveries look pretty close, and you could rename all the cars, all the drivers' names as well to make it the 1998 season. But best of all, the handling was spot on, absolutely spot on, and you could do 100% race and all the cars would stop twice during the race. Now, that was always the bugbear of the old F1 games, like, not 97, that was really good, but all the others about stopping, they'd only ever stop once, even on a 100% race, which is stupid. They'd only ever stop once. But this had a proper 2-stop strategy, and it was beautiful. The way that the cars reacted around you as well, it was just magical. I've played it recently, and it's pretty shit nowadays. It's pretty shit nowadays. But back then, if you're comparing it to F198, it was mad. And for a whole 6 months, I was just in heaven. Because, all right, it didn't look very nice. The tracks were appallingly bad in their reputation, in their recreations. Oh my god, they were nothing like the real circuits, because it wasn't an officially licensed game. So the circuits were sort of close, but no cigar. But the handling was beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, just like a proper F1 game. Oh, it was glorious. And so that's what got me through the horrible F198, which just sat in my cupboard for another 6 months until F199 came out. But yeah, Grand Prix Simulation, I can't remember the full title. It's a horrendous title. It's got the Monaco's in there, Monaco 2 Grand, something like that anyway. But it was just glorious. It really was glorious. Beautiful handling. The graphics, little bit ropey. The look of the cars, and worst bit was the sound. It basically sounded like 27Bs caught in a jar. Yeah, it basically looked like you put 27Bs into a jar, closed it up, put it up to the microphone, and that was the sound of the engines. It was like I had to turn it down all the time because it was doing my ears in. It really was. But the game worked, and that was the most important thing. It worked. And so that got me through until F199 came along. And that ended up shit as well. But there you go. Now I've got to try and find the chat again now. The last phenomenal F1 game to Scott was F1 2010. Yeah, I agree with you. All they should have done, got F1 2010, just update it every year. That's all they should have done. Think of how great it would have been now. But there you go. 2016 was decent. 2016 was a return to form. Yes. Oh, yes. Lulu lost to Nico. Oh, dear, Lewis. 2020 was solid, but 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21 and 22 were near. Yes. I agree. Bring back 16 to 18 races like how it was in the old days. Yes, I think we should. 16 to 18. Such a great sort of amount of races, I say. Usually one a fortnight. You did used to get the French Grand Prix and the British Grand Prix 1 week after the other, but that's fair enough. It's just, you know, it's 22 miles across the tunnel. I don't think the tunnel was around back then, was it? But anyway, it's 22 miles from France to England, so obviously you're going to get that done in a week. But all the rest of the races, or most of them, I think there was one more during those early seasons. It was basically bi-monthly, and that was great. Everyone loved it. Everyone loved it. Oversaturation of a product. It happens with lots of things, and people get fed up. I'm just going to say Star Trek. Okay, everyone knows I absolutely adore Star Trek. Okay, but even now I think the product oversaturated, too much. We need just enough, not too much. But that's happening with everything. Look at Star Wars. Oh my God, they are rinsing and milking the little Star Wars teat now, milking that little Star Wars teat to absolutely new levels of insanity. It's too much. It's too much. Yes. Get rid of all those shitty TV shows. Leave The Mandalorian, because I do love Grogu. Yes, I love Grogu. And I could sit there watching Grogu going, no, 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 all day and all night. No, 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 no. Love it. Absolutely love it. So keep the but get rid of all those other ones. Kenobi and... Oh, what a load of shit. Get rid of them all. Just keep little Grogu going, no, 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 no. And that will be fine. And maybe release some movies now and again. Not those last 3. No, no, no. Some decent ones. That would be fine. But apart from that, oversaturation. It's too much. And it's happening with everything. As I say, Star Wars, Star Trek, Formula One's guilty of this as well. Oversaturation. Too much. Too much of a good thing is not good. So yeah, just reduce it down. Reduce it down. Well, I like 2010, 2012, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2013, 2016. Decent. Indeed. 2020 was a solid game. I think the children in the future will love the 2020 game. Yes, I think they will. Another season of a proposed 23 race calendar doesn't actually end up with 23 races. Yes, this of course is a fact. Unless Imola gets reinstated on the calendar, which is honestly unlikely. Yeah, I think it is unlikely, to be fair. Helium Trophy says not enough prestige these days. Yeah, that's another thing. Just not enough prestige. It's too samey. And after that, those disastrous driver, whatever you want to call it, parade last week or the week before, which almost for the first time made me vomit. With anyway, I'm not going to go into that because I did a whole video all about that. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Which now I hear they want to do about 6 times a year. God help us. God, I hope they don't bring Will.i.am back. I think I might actually stop watching F1 just because of that. Just because of Will.i.am, you know? Oh my God. Not good. Not good. Even the Americans who said it was cringe. Even the Americans. And it was in their country. And they said, ooh. 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 And as I said in the video, I loved it because, you know, I am Mr. Cringe. So obviously I thought it was great. But also I can see from other people's standpoints, and I can see just how cringy it was. Yes. In fact, it was more cringy than anything I've ever done, ever. And I've done some cringy shit. I mean, Carmen Jordan, but it was worse than Carmen Jordan. It really was. I was like, oh God, no, no. And when the pom-pom, well, I don't know what they call in the States, cheerleaders, when they came out and they were waving, I went, oh my God, no, no, please, no more. Oh, I can't stand it anymore. No, no. It was, you know, it was like the wrestling, wasn't it? The WWF, I don't watch it, so I don't. One of those. It was just like that. I was just waiting for Lulu to come on with this fake wooden chair and go, oi, Max, Bosh. Oh, fuck, baby, chair's dropped. Fucking hell. Oh, stand by, everyone. I've just scared myself. This is like that Monaco video all over again on the All Seasons. My chair's just fallen down. Oh, fucking hell, that scared me. Whoa! Oh, okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Oh, fuck. Well, that woke me up. Will says the organisers of these circuits would have to agree to a race at a moment's notice. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree with you on the calendar day, but 4 courses on the sub bench, I think, would have a week's notice to get some fans at the track, but no fans since we are not at the pandemic. Yeah, true. I don't think it would be feasible. It just a thought that I think it would be, if they could have these 4 tracks actually sort of on the sub bench, around about Europe, sort of, maybe round Paul Ricard. That's put that on the subs bench because that's easily accessible for a lot of the Grand Prix teams. So have Paul Ricard. I know everyone doesn't like it, but it's still up to F1 standards at the moment anyway. So have that on the subs bench. Will says Bahrain was supposed to be the season opener in 2011 as well. Yes, it was. Will says I never had the Japan bug on 2011, but I got the game on Xbox first. Yeah, I think it was just a PlayStation bug, if I remember rightly. No fans at a race now. Does a disagree with a notice 5 weeks before might work and have at least some fans can go to the event. True. 5 days notice is a bit too close. It is. Even 2 weeks though could be enough. Yeah, probably 4 weeks would be wiser. Will says F123 is currently on patch 1.9820243511928365401138849. Funny that, but that's my credit card number as well. How did that happen? How very strange. Will says, just for reference, I had COVID in December 2022. Thank you, Will. I've been tested once for COVID and had it at the time, but I think I've had it about 3 to 4 times probably. Thank you, Scott. My energy levels have been slashed since I had COVID and it's not getting any better. Thanks for that, Will. Scott says in 1998, you still need a poo before the lights went out last week's on of 98, very early 99. Yes. Very nice. He and Travis says, I didn't mind the game too much. I understand. Yeah, and I have to say, as I've played it in the last few years, it's actually grown on me. Very, very weird. It was just the fact that F197 was so good. For me, anyway. Looking back at it now, it's not that good. Really. But back then, 99, it was so good. It was such a disappointment. Such an anti-climax, It was just like, oh God, and that's what disappointed. But as I say, last couple of years I've been playing it, and it has sort of grown on me. It really has. I never thought I'd say that, but F198 has grown on me, and I've got used to the handling. And some of the other videos I've made recently about the game, I've had a lot of tips from people, and I couldn't believe that anyone would actually have tips for F198 saying that, oh yeah, you should adjust this to the suspension and this, and that makes it tons better. And I'm like, people actually did that? I mean, I never even touched any of the settings for the game whatsoever because I was just so disappointed. I was like, can't be bothered. Cannot be bothered. But yeah, people actually went through and adjusted the settings, and I was like, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Brian Placey says Monaco Grand Prix Racing Simulator. That was it. Monaco Grand Prix Racing Simulation 2 was the name. Yes, great game. Absolutely. Go check it out. You can probably get it on eBay for about £1. Probably about £1. Or if you use these emulators these days. You can probably get it for free off the internet. Yes, but it's well worth it, absolutely. And trust me, go for 100% race. It'll do a proper 2-stop strategy, and it's really challenging as well. Really challenging, and especially if you pick like you can tell which cars are which. You can pick the Jordan lookalike, and you can actually get to look pretty close to a Jordan, and it actually behaves pretty much like the Jordan of 1998, which means it wasn't the front runner, but it was competitive, and you really do get a great race out of it, I have to admit. Here in Travis says, I started the career mode on Ralf Schumacher because the handling was better than if I went with the big guns at the start. Yeah, true. It was true that the handling was better, especially on Ralf Schumacher's car, I must admit. Very good. F1 2010 made me cry when Karun Chandkok won around Hungary before me in the Lotus. I won it in Italy, but same with no wins as the bloody HR bloody... don't talk to me about HRT, Scott. Don't talk to me about HRT. I was forced to drive that car during the ERL very early days of 2010 because there was none other available. That's what Joe said to me anyway, but I'm sure there was a Ferrari available. But anyway, so he gave me the HRT and it's horrible. Horrible. Never again. Will says, Tarso Marquez once won the 2001 German Grand Prix on F1 Career Challenge. He did indeed. Well done, Tarso Marquez. In Formula 1 2001, the Sony game, Tarso Marquez's name wasn't even mentioned in the commentary. I wonder why. Just like Fast and Furious, they have made 10 of them. 11 was supposed to be the last one, but they could be doing a 12 film. Make it... yeah, I did hear about Fast and Furious, yeah. I remember Vin Diesel as well. It was only like a year ago. He said, yeah, we're making the last one now. Because that's why he wanted old... what's his name? Was it Dwayne Johnson, The Rock? Was he in them? I can't. They all look like they all go into a blur after a while. Was it Dwayne? The Rock was in them, and that's why he wanted him to come back because he said no only to Vin Diesel because he said that we're making the last one and I want you to be in it, and he said no, and now he's turned around and said yeah well we're gonna make it 10 and then 11 and then 12 will be the last one. 12 will be the last one, and then I expect just to be really sure they'll make 13, 14, and 15 just to make sure that it's completely finished. And then, but after that, they may say, well, what about 16, 17, and 18, where we can wrap up this story thread that we've forgotten about? Yeah, we'll do that, and then possibly in 19, 20, and 21, we'll finally say that's it. We're not, but then of course there could be some more after that. Yeah, you get my point. Rinsing it, absolutely rinsing it. Fast and Furious. I do love the Fast and Furious movies. I mean, who doesn't? If you like cars, driving, why not? Action, adventure, then obviously you're going to love them. But yeah, rinsed now. Absolutely rinsed. Will says, where on earth is the next episode of the Carmen Jordan career mode? In my PC. Just got to be edited sometime. Don't ask me, Will. Oh my God, don't ask me. Sometime. We don't speak of those driver introductions, no. It's time once again for... Wait a minute. Let's clear my voice for this. It's time once again for the 5 lights to go out on the all seasons. Oh wait, it's a parade and a clown show. Okay. Whatever. On the all seasons career mode. Yes. Gaston Mazepin. Yes, Will. We get it. He tried to convince The Rock to cut. That's it. Yeah, The Rock. Yeah. Dwayne Johnson. As Tony Jardine used to call him. Yes. Gaston Mazepin. Oh, dear. Yes, The Rock. That's right. I remember The Rock. Yes, indeed. Right, how long have I been... Oh, my God. I've been waffling on for an hour and 15 minutes. I was going to do a quick stream of just an hour. Oh, my God. Right, let's... Ba 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 ba. Let's quickly see if there's anyone about. Let's go to the Canadian. What's it? Oop. Wait a minute. Ah, no, that's got us. Right, sorry. Sorry, I do apologise. Doing everything live here. Live. There we go. Let's go see if the Canadian's about. Bloody hell. That came up quick. Oh my God. Is he indisposed? Hey, lads. Do you think he's got a woman? Do you think he's he's turned his phone off? Do you think he has because he's got a woman? Oh my God. That'll be a first. Let's redial. Oh, by the way, talking about Monaco. Turn that down a bit. The TV rights to Monaco is owned by a French TV company, and what they want to do, because as you know, there's protests in France at the moment over the rise of the pension age. No answer. Right, so I'll continue my fault, because there's protests over the pension age. What they want to do in Monaco is they want to start the race, and then 10 minutes into the race, they want to cut the electrical power. And so, obviously, the race will have to be red flag because no one's going to know what the results are. That's what they want to do. Hopefully, that's not going to happen. I'm pretty sure with the cancellation of Imola, FIA are going to absolutely make bloody sure it's not going to happen. But yeah, that's what they were planning to do as a protest to, what's his name, Macron, the French president, because of the pension age going up from, I think it's 62 to 64, which for us in the UK is just laughable because I think ours is going up to about 68, I think. It'll be 70 soon, so there you go. But yeah, that's what they want to do. But hopefully that won't happen and we'll get a Monaco Grand Prix because it's absolutely stupid if they're going to switch it off after 10 minutes. If that was the case, I just wouldn't turn up to Monaco either. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen now. Right, so that's him, no answer. So there's no Orlando this week. Maybe he's got a woman. Maybe he's got a woman. Right, let's go and do the main one. Just got to get rid of eight people. 7 people now. Right. If no one turns up, we will say goodbye. Goodbye. Come on. Don't fail me now, Facebook. Don't fail me now. There you go. There you go. Hey, well, you caught me off guard then. Hello, Donald.
I know, I could.
Hello. Has Donald had a haircut?
Yeah.
I thought as much. Let me just turn you up, can't I? Yeah. That should be better. Hello.
What's up?
That's it. I got you.
5 weeks off for F1 now.
Is it 5 weeks? I thought Monaco was next week.
Yeah, but this week makes 5.
Oh, is it? Oh my! No, didn't we? We had one 2 weeks ago, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah, didn't we have yeah, we did. Yeah, oh bloody hell, it's all in a blur.
Oh yeah, that's right. We had fucking Miami. That's
Miami,
right.
that's it. You see, it was the driver intro parade. I've completely wiped it out of my memory. I've tried to anyway. Yeah, we had Miami 2 weeks ago, didn't we?
It feels like.
I know it does. Yeah, it's going to be 3 weeks with Monaco next week. Yeah, be 3 weeks. And we had that.
Did they have 4 weeks before that?
We did, yeah. After China got cancelled, yeah, we had 4 weeks there. So yeah, it's been a bit of a up and down season so far. It has to be said, with the huge gaps. I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't managed to fit some kind of Grand Prix in the middle of one of them, but it's just the way it goes, I suppose. Yeah. Nobody was expecting Imola to get cancelled, even though
did it officially get cancelled, or is it just postponed?
Well, not quite sure. They're going to see if they can slot it in somewhere later in the season, but at the moment, not quite sure.
Yeah, use the summer break.
Yeah,
give them one less week off in the summer.
Yeah, they've had 2 summer breaks already, haven't they? So why not?
Yeah.
They've already had a summer break. They've had that break during Easter for 4 weeks. So yeah, just get rid of the summer break and slap one in the middle.
What's on the calendar next to Monza?
Oh, blimey. I don't know. Don, hang on, I'll have a look.
Because why not do back-to-back Italian races if they can?
Let's have a look at the calendar. Monza, I think, is coming up pretty soon, if I remember rightly. It's just a shame they cancelled this one, and we got Monaco, which is.
I mean, yeah. If it was just because of rain, I would bitch at the FIA, because let them fucking race in the rain. Like, that's why we have rain tires.
Yeah.
But I mean, the whole area is flooded, so that's a little different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got Monaco next weekend. Then we've got Spain.
What's Canada after that?
Canada's after Spain, yep. Then you've got Austria and then Great Britain. They're like 2. Yeah, you got Monaco next week, which is the end of May. Then you've got a week gap, and then it's Spain. Then you've got 2 weeks till Canada, and then 2 weeks until Australia, and then it's.
What about where's Monza on the calendar?
Monza is not until the 1st of September, and then there's a 2.
What's before that and after that?
Before that, you got the Netherlands, which is 1 week before, so you can't slot it in there. But after Italy, you've got 2 weeks because they go to Singapore. So there's a 2-week gap before Singapore. So yeah, they've got like the 8th of September. They could slot it in there.
Yeah, why not do that? Because it's not like you're going halfway across the world to Singapore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because if they're in Italy anyway.
In Italy and then you stay just basically in Italy for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're like on opposite sides of Italy, aren't they? Imola and Monza.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're pretty close, yeah. But they won't do that, Don, because it's the FIA, you know. They'll
and they don't do what makes sense, right?
No, that's right. They'll go to Qatar, and then they'll probably go back to Imola a week later. That makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, let's go to Qatar, which is way out in the desert, and then we'll come back to Imola. That's what they'll do.
I mean, yeah, that would be a perfect spot to slot it in. You're in Italy for Monza. Why not just stay there an extra week, pretty much? Do Imola.
Yeah.
And why not shorten the summer break and make up for one of these races they had to cancel already to get a full season back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just looking where the summer break is. It's where is it?
Usually July to August, isn't it?
Well, July we got Silverstone from the 7th to the 9th. Then we got Hungary from the 21st to 20. No, there's nothing in. We got a full calendar in July. Wait a minute. Right, okay. Got Belgium on the 28th of July, and then the Netherlands is on the 25th of August. So there's your 3-week summer break. So it's the end of July until almost the end of August. There's no racing.
Should shorten that a week. Throw a race in there, either the week before Netherlands or the week after.
Yeah. In actual fact, they could put Imola after Belgium because that is very close as well to Belgium, is Imola. It's all in the same.
But FIA won't do what makes sense.
No, they won't do that. But that would be a good idea. Shorten the break to 2 weeks and put Imola after there. Yeah.
Just like putting Las Vegas 10 o'clock at night for US for Vegas time. Like, I can understand that they want a night race. Make it like 8 o'clock after it gets dark.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. Let me click on that.
I mean, I love the fact when F1's overseas, for me, come home from work and watch an F1 race at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Especially next week. Monaco, then the Indy 500.
Yep.
And then the NASCAR Coke 600.
It's just a shame it's Monaco though, isn't it? Because it's always boring at Monaco, isn't it?
It used to be better than what it is now, but
yeah, it's just a snooze fest, unfortunately. But I think that's a lot to do with the way the cars are these days and how big they are. That getting around the circuit, there's just no way you can pass. So
they're way too wide, in my opinion.
Yeah, so you can't.
Yeah, Dave, instead of making your car 5 wide in the ERL, you only have to make it like 3 wide now.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
But no, like... Sorry, I'm kind of watching Indy 500 practice at the same time.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I might wrap up the stream now, actually, because it's... I've been on for nearly an hour and a half. I was just coming on to see if anyone was about. So I'd just like to say thank you for joining the stream tonight.
No problem.
And I will see you on Monday for the next...
Hungary.
Race. Hungary, is it?
Hungary.
Oh, great. Lovely.
Hungary, then Coda are our next two.
Coda. So
not looking forward to that one either.
Only a few more races, and we can finally throw the game in the bin and set fire to it, can't we?
GameStop's pissing me off. Speaking of the new F1 game,
right?
Because they're taking pre-orders for the PS4 version of F1 2023, but they're not taking pre-orders for the PS5 version yet.
Oh, that's not on, is it? That's not
like how the hell are you taking it for one but not the other?
Yeah, that's weird. And they're both exactly the same price as well, aren't they?
Think so.
Yeah, EA's been a little bit clever this year because they've obviously thought to themselves, well, if you've got a PS5 and the PS4 version's £10 cheaper, a lot of people are going to do that, aren't they? So they've made the price exactly the same. So it's the PS4 and the PS5 version. I'm talking like the game on a disc version, not the digital ones. It's exactly the same price. So, yeah. Because I was tempted. I thought,
maybe EA will be clever and take these supercars out of F1 that shouldn't have been in an F1 game.
No, You just put EA and clever in the same sentence, Don. That's not on, is it? That's never going to work. No.
Well, you did too. You said EA was clever and made them the same
Well,
price, so you did it too.
Yeah, clever on pricing, but then that's more money that they make, so they're going to be clever on that stuff. But actually stuff that you want in the game or don't want in the game, they're not going to do that, are they? No, they'll just it'll be full of supercars this game. Tell you.
That supercars was absolutely stupid.
Yep, I agree. Absolutely stupid.
Put the classic cars back in there. At least that's F1 related.
Yep. But I'm not going to do that because it takes too much time and effort for them. It's too much.
And driving the old cars was actually kind of fun. So
it was, yeah. I used to love it. Yeah, used to love driving them. But there you go. They took them out. I heard it was for licensing reasons, so I don't know whether it was or not. But yeah, because
what licenses are fucking F1? It's F1.
Yeah, true. But that's
I can understand little things like on the Ferraris if you couldn't put Marlboro on the side of them.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I can understand if you couldn't put the sponsorship on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the old McLarens, if you couldn't put Vodafone or Verizon. That's fine. I can understand that part.
Yeah, it's stupid. Isn't it? But there we
GA,
go.
what do you expect?
There you go. What do you expect? Yeah. Yeah, I noticed the digital champion. What's it called? Champions Edition. It's horrendous price, isn't it? Horrendous. It's like 90.
Is it like 20? Is it like $20 more?
It's 90 pounds over here, which is about. But I think the dollars to pounds conversion is the same, so it might be $90 for you over there. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, because last year what they did was I got the disc version of 22, and it was like a $20 upgrade if you wanted the Champions pack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never bother with those Champions things because I don't think there's enough content to warrant the extra price. I'd rather just get the normal game, and if you want the extra stuff, get it later on, because they usually reduce the price of that stuff later on anyway, don't they? DLC stuff always gets reduced down later. So yeah. I just hope it works, Don. I just hope it works, because if we have to go back to 22, I'm literally I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I can't do another year of 22.
Hopefully, we can actually have safety cars in the RL.
No, never going to happen. Never going to happen. Because they just don't work. They need to work 100% online. That's the trouble, and they don't. They do work, but it's like 90%, and you'll get to a situation where it won't work, and then everyone will go, this is crap, and you can't change it because the safety car is running on the race. So you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. That's why we don't have the safety car, because it's. If it was 100% every single time, we'd have it in there. We'd say, yeah, do it. But sometimes it doesn't work.
I thought Joe said the main reason is someone disconnected or whatever. It's an automatic safety car or something.
Yeah, it is usually. Yeah, that's what happens. Because it just triggers it when someone drops out. The safety car comes out. So that's a problem as well, unfortunately.
I guess we'll test it in the new game.
Oh yeah, we'll test it. We test it every year, safety car. But as I say, it's never 100%. So it's unfortunate. But to say that, if you're playing it in career mode, it's never 100%. I mean, as you know, I do lots. I do lots of career modes.
Like when I was going for the platinum, trying to cause a wreck for a safety car to deploy, it was so inconsistent.
Yeah. Well, I expect this year you better cause a red. One of the platinums will be causing a red flag. I would have thought, don't you? Now they got it back in the game.
Yeah.
I would have thought. Let's hope so anyway. Right, anyway, I will wrap it up. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us tonight, and we will catch you on Monday. Thank you.
Yep, later, Dave.
Catch you later. Bye-bye. Okay, that's the end of the stream. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I've been waffling on for, oh God, 1 hour and 35 minutes now. On a very quick stream that I said. I'll only be on for half an hour and I'll be... Anyway, thanks to everyone in the chat. You have been awesome as always. To Mr. Will F1 Gaming, to Lionel Plessy, to Scott Barnes, to Mr. Helium Trophy, to JW97, and it won't let me scroll up any further, but I know Matthew 76 whatever was in there as well. Thank you, Matthew. And there might have been someone else who I've forgotten about. Don't ritually sacrifice me because I'm very old. But there you go. Thanks everyone for being in the chat tonight. You have been awesome as always. I'm sorry there's no Grand Prix this weekend. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. It's nothing to do with me. It was the rain gods. But anyway, if there's other sport, which as someone said in the chat, the BTC is on this weekend. You've got the 24 hour as well. And someone has sort of recommended some of this women's cycling stuff. I don't see the appeal myself, but I will check that out more and more and see whether it is worth further investigation. Yes, the women's cycling. I will check it out because why not? Why not indeed? Anyway, so yeah, if there's other sport on this weekend, go enjoy it. Forget about F1 for this week because it's not going to happen. Obviously, there'll be some stories over the weekend from F1 bosses trying to stay relevant and trying to keep the sport in the focus, which never works because we all see through it and go, yeah, get out of here. Let me go and watch me women's cycling instead. And so, yeah, so thank you very much. And I will be back next Thursday, finally, for the Monaco preview, where we will discuss who we think will be the 1, 2, 3 finish for Monaco, which will be next week, of course, next Thursday. Be there or be square. That's what I used to say, and I'm going to continue to say it. And don't forget to catch me on Sunday for the 400th episode of the All Seasons. Almost 6 years now. It will be 6 years on September the 6th of this year since I started the All Seasons. I know. I was trying to make it the longest running series ever, but unfortunately there's another channel that's beaten me. Yes, it's the channel I mentioned at the start of the show. And do you know what? I've forgotten what the channel name's called now. But anyway, it'll come to me. But anyway, he does a weekly series. He's on about 450 episodes. So yeah, hopefully he'll stop and I can catch up. That's the plan anyway. And I'll be overtaking. But yeah. It's still a long running series. That's all I can say. It's still a long running series, but not quite up to that standards. But anyway, yeah, 400 episodes on Sunday, 5 o'clock. Be there or be square. And thanks so much for watching, everyone, tonight. For me and Mr. TB the Bear. Let's go get him because everyone moans if I don't show him on screen. There he is, TB the Bear. Yeah, still got his WTF1. Yes. He says WTF1's still better than this shitty old channel. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. He loves WTF1, don't you? Yes. Okay, thanks everyone. You've been awesome as always. And as I put TB down there, let's get back into frame. I will catch you in the next video. Thank you and good night.